Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Now, today's guest appeared on Best Week Ever, Chappelle's Show, Keith Olbermann, Comedy Central Presents, Conan.
And he's still not used to being introduced. Look at his face.
Not that I'm not injured. Okay.
I'm not done. I'm not done yet. Are we there yet? This is what he's saying when I'm reading these. The Jim Gaffigan Show. And coming up, a brand new show that he helped create. A&E's Black and White. Christian,
like the cookie.
Like the cookie. It's about cooking. And
Please
pastries.
don't put that out there.
Christian Finnegan, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, guys. It's nice to see you again.
Congrats on this show.
Thank you.
Black and White. What a fun time to make racial jokes. I'm very excited for you.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those live by the sword, die by the sword sort of things.
That's what we were all thinking, yes.
It's our die by the police. It is a little awkward, obviously, because things happen in the news, and it's been kind of a rough week.
Right.
But that is, at the same time, why the show feels kind of relevant and why I think the network is excited to do the show. It's not necessarily because there'd be violence, but that these things are so in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, Chemda went to one of the protests, in fact, right? You have the cops, surprise, killing more black innocent black people, and then you have a black guy trying to kill cops and succeeds, kills 5 police officers, and then so when you're at the protest, what are you protesting exactly?
I think the protest was before that happened, before the cops got killed.
Okay.
Just Black Lives Matter.
Right.
You know, hopefully there's more of us than there is of your thought. You know, of just like you could just keep killing black people. Have awareness of stop denying that this is happening. Maybe cops tell on cops. Maybe be less corrupt. So draw attention, bring media, to just bring it so far to the surface that hopefully can't be ignored anymore, and hopefully it'll stop.
Now, do you, when you're in a protest, do you just protest to, let's say, the media, or are you actually like I see people actually talking to cops as if the cops are going to go, great point?
Well, here's the thing.
Some do.
Yeah?
Some do. I mean, I think a lot. I mean, if you look at a lot of these protests, especially even the ones in Dallas, a lot of the cops were taking pictures with protesters. I think that there was a general understanding. There is what they call the blue wall of silence. That's just, cops don't talk shit about other cops, just as a rule. But I think in the wake of these 2 shootings this week, you were seeing some sort of silent acknowledgement on the part of the police that this is a fucked up situation. In that there wasn't that same kind of like, hey, don't disrespect our cops. I think most people looked at those 2 shootings and they're like, okay, we can't defend this. And I really feel like things were on the verge of actually maybe turning a corner. And then
really,
this fucker,
I feel like we're on the verge of war.
No, but I'm saying that I felt like there were conservative writers after the Philando Castile and Alton Sterling shootings. There were conservative writers. This guy Leon Wolf on Red State and a bunch of other conservatives are like, all right, clearly there's something fucked up going on right now. Clearly, this isn't just a respect the cops thing. There's something that needs to be fixed.
Fine, okay. So then after cops were gunned down the day after, they took it back?
It's like they took a shit in the middle of the table.
No, then whoever thinks that doesn't understand the cause. This is a different thing.
Of course not. You're absolutely right.
So just because conservatives admitted it for half a second and then took it back is the same as not admitting it. It's even worse because you saw it for a second and now you're pretending to not see it anymore.
No, I'm not saying that all conservatives are like,
yes,
let's change. And then the next day they were like, no, it wasn't. Stop it. I felt like people were starting to look at the issue and they were actually willing to like, all right, well, let's talk about this. And then the police shootings happen. And it's not like people are all of a sudden ignoring what they said before. They're just like, okay, well, fuck you, no shooting. Like if police are getting shot, well, then deal off. No more
Yeah, I am saying that that's shitty. I am saying that it's taking it back. I'm saying exactly what I was saying before.
Okay, I don't know how to. We're not actually saying anything different. What I'm saying is that people were coming forward and saying, let's have this discussion. And then the police shootings happened, and the public became much less amenable to hearing that suggestion.
Right.
Is
that
that
really
the story changes to
That's
we've
what
got
Chemda
black
says.
cops.
Yeah.
You know what, though? It may suck, but it's also accurate. It's also
No, it's
true.
not. No,
It
it's
is
not.
true.
It's a separate thing.
But I think even the most liberal among us, even the most pro-BLM people among us, have to accept a hard truth that it only takes one person to ruin it for everyone.
No, then how come it doesn't take one cop to ruin it for everybody? There's been a lot of one persons from the other side.
Because you will lose that argument 100 times out of 100.
Because of, people like you who are saying...
Because of people who are at the protest.
You're taking it back.
Talk to the black families of the cops who were shot.
Right now. What?
Talk to the black families of the cops. Like, there are black cops that get shot. I mean, there's...
How does that...
What I'm saying is that it is absurd to think that... to pretend as if the circumstances haven't changed. To ignore what happened is... to ignore what happened in Dallas will make anyone who you're trying to convince not even hear you anymore.
I'm not
because you
ignoring
have
it.
to.
I'm looking at it and saying it's different.
Of course
I'm looking
it's
at
different.
it. No, I'm looking at it and I'm asking you to put it in a different category than black people getting shot by cops.
They're completely different categories. 100% different categories. But what I'm saying is you can't ignore that it happened. And that BLM should not have to go out there and be like, we disavow violence constantly. It's like it's a fucking bullshit situation that they have to be put in that position. But when something like this happens, if fair goes out the window, it's like this happened.
What goes out the window?
Like what you should have to do, what BLM should have to say, and what they shouldn't have to say.
Fair is already out the window. What fair are you talking about? It was out the window already. This has nothing to do with it. Stop comparing it, or you're giving them another side. Am I
what
making
you're
any
arguing,
sense? We're just going back and forth. So.
No, but what you're arguing though has zero chance of actually achieving the change you say you want. That's the point I'm trying.
And I'm thinking the same. I'm thinking the same of you.
What I'm saying is, from a pragmatic point of view, if you really want to get people to look at policing and how it's done, and training cops about implicit bias and things like that, if you actually want that to happen in the real world, you cannot ignore or gloss over the horror of someone opening fire on police, even though it's one person out of a fucking million.
How am I ignoring that?
Well, you're saying that it doesn't matter, and that it shouldn't change the strategy a little bit.
Right.
I think it does.
It's
I think
a very important point for me to make, that you don't make a cop dying the same as what's happening to black people.
It's not the same. It's something else that also happened.
Right. A lot of things happen. We're focused on this thing. So stop bringing this other thing into it.
You must have been a good protester. Did you yell at cops?
No, I just yelled a lot.
Did you?
Yeah. There's like chanting throughout the whole thing. What's weird is at some point you are yelling FTP and everyone goes, fuck the police. And we're marching right next to police. And then you got to like pass right by them and...
You go, fuck the police. Excuse me. Excuse me, please.
Here's what I'm trying to say, and this is going to sound like a strange metaphor, but let's say you had a protest at a specific building, and the floor collapsed because there were too many people in there. You would have to say, okay, we can't do protests in that building anymore, or we have to allow fewer people in. It's not saying that it's right or wrong. It's just something that has to happen in order for the movement to move forward. That's all I'm saying, is that to continue on and just act like this isn't a possibility, that there is, in this fucking gun crazy country, that it only takes one person. I'm not saying that should necessarily even go out and have your protest, but I feel like it is at least incumbent upon people to say, for the record, hey, fuck faces out there, don't fuck this up for us. Don't go out, to renounce violence in a more forceful way. They shouldn't have to, but I think they have to. That's my opinion.
Okay, Libby is saying, I think Christian is saying the Dallas shooting changed the national conversation, not that he agrees with people who equate the two things.
I would agree with that, yes.
It changes the conversation. I want to change it back to...
But the way to do that isn't to just keep bellowing the same thing as if nothing has changed. That's all I'm saying. If you really want the conversation to get where it needs to get, I don't think ignoring Dallas will help that happen.
No, I'm trying to look at it and say this happened because someone got frustrated with the cops, right? So,
Yeah.
But I would like to ignore it, to put it separately. So I would like to go, that happened because this guy's angry, because this guy is a monster, because he's shooting people, right?
Yeah. Well, he's obviously, I mean, that it's
But
the same
what
thing
I'm
when you're talking
asking is
about
after you know
radicalization.
that, what I'm asking is after you know that, not you, but after people know that, can you please go, that's not what we're talking about. Like, that's a terrible thing. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about like this other thing, the thing that where cops just shoot black people and then just get off is still a thing, even though cops are getting shot.
You're nervous.
I
People are
understand
thinking
that.
it somehow evens out.
Yeah, it's like, well, look at this monster. He's just, doing
Without
this
a doubt,
thing.
without a doubt, they're two different things in my mind. But what I would compare it to radicalization. That sometimes we say to Muslims, Muslims quite rightly say, we shouldn't have to fucking get up there and renounce terrorism every fucking day. It's not I didn't do anything. And I get that. But at a certain point, you do have to, make sure that your message is not being radicalized. That's all I'm saying, is that you have to at least give some attention to the fact, like, all right, is there something we're doing that could inspire this dude a little less? Or not. And if the answer is no, then so be it. But you at least have to have that conversation, I think. Is there something that we're doing?
Doesn't that go into gun control? That's the thing that we should be doing for all of this.
Of course. I mean, that's the biggest. What is the one factor in all of these things in Orlando?
Yeah.
I mean, in the and even the guy whose photo they showed, with the long gun, the open carry guy who they claimed was a suspect. Police wasted so much time and energy having to deal with people with walking around the streets with fucking AR-15s that who knows how much more quickly the situation would have resolved itself if there weren't just random people walking around with fucking semi-automatic assault weapons.
Keith and the girl guest Elsa Waith made it on the front of the New York Post. Congratulations.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Cambry started a Kickstarter or GoFundMe for her.
Look at that. Everybody's doing GoFundMes for each other.
Yeah, well, she
sweet?
did one for
Yeah.
QED, and so, Elsa's, talk about somebody who walks it like she talks it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She was arrested, I believe, for almost a full day, right? 22 hours in police custody. And I saw some video. It didn't look like, I guess she just wouldn't get out of the street, right? But
that picture, I saw the video of where that picture got taken. And also, just the words on there. That picture is so dramatized.
It really is. It's not nearly as crowded there as they make it. It makes it look like it's this throng of people. It really is.
It also makes it look like she's about to attack the police.
like eat them.
Yeah. It makes it look like she was like kind of coming on full force. That is not what happened. That's not what the protest felt like. I mean, I know I just said, we were chanting "fuck the police," but it really is, walking through going like, we're very angry with you.
Yeah.
We're very angry at this situation. Sometimes, so you're singing a lot of chants like where it feels like if you would enter it, you might feel stupid a little bit, and you do feel stupid a little bit when you first do like, hey, hey, ho, ho, shit like that.
Right.
And then you get like, I saw someone clearly antagonizing us, but I went with it anyway because everyone else did, because we're still saying the same thing. So somebody noticed, you just you're gonna chant with whatever. All I have to do is go FTP, and everyone goes, fuck the police. That's all I have to do. So there's a lot of things where you just start it and other people chant after. So someone goes, what do we want? And we all just go, justice. But he's going like, I think I saw him like elbow his friend even, like, watch me do this. And all he said was like, what do we want? And we go, justice. When do we want it? Now. And I see his face just be like, I can't believe this works. And I'm like, I don't care. We still want justice and we still want it now.
Right.
It still works. And by the way, this protest, I was having a sweat-free summer. 2 beads of sweat the entire summer so far. 2 beads. I was so disgusting by the end of this. I thought I'm going to a park to protest, and I'm going to sit there, and then, we're going to have little sit-ins. There's going to be drum circles.
I didn't realize there's work involved.
She brought like one of those plastic wine things that separate in two halves, glasses.
I honestly did not bring the right shoes. I didn't know we were marching, because a march and a protest to me is different. Oh my God, over 2 to 3 hours, I'm just walking. I didn't even realize. I didn't drink any water. I didn't eat anything. I hadn't eaten since like breakfast or early lunch or something.
How about we do a sit-in?
Yeah.
But I didn't know. All I'm doing is walking. I walk all the time in this city. At the end, somebody gave me water. Everyone was so generous about so many things. Somebody handed me water. I started chugging it. First 2 chugs, I almost threw up. because you're not supposed to like be dehydrated and chug a lug.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was like, oh shit, this is okay. These people get exhausted. Like, this is no joke. And I sweat.
You made it to the end, though.
I did, yeah. In fact, I was carrying the banner by the end. Holy shit, that's heavy. Oh, my God. Yeah. And then we're going through Times Square, and I'm, like, lifting it over cars and shit. And it's fabric. But I'm like, the wind is blowing. And I'm like, I got this, you guys. Just like a crazy person. But, yeah, I was proud to be there, though, because it's...
Yeah, you want to sort of...
It's a voice.
You want to have your vote counted, so to speak.
Right. It is a vote in a way. And also, you see people going and you're like, there are thousands of people. It's just going to be me. So, and then I'm like, that's how everyone stays home. Yeah. I got to go. Right. So I just went. I saw it and I'm like, I'm just going to leave the house because otherwise I'm not going to go.
I have this sort of weird... I went to the BLM march in D.C. in December. And I'd love to say that I took a bus down there, and I happened to be in D.C. that weekend at the Improv.
That's okay. I happened to be in New York.
Yeah. So, but I did go, and I left halfway through. Because honestly, everything had come to a standstill.
You guys got this, right?
No, but
what do we want? To go home.
But kind of for those same reasons, but it was the opposite. It was freezing. It was the middle of December.
Yeah, and, that's hard.
But also, it had gotten to a point where it was just the speakers were speaking in the middle of, I don't remember, it might have been Pennsylvania Avenue, I'm not sure, but it was Sharpton on stage, and I've seen enough Sharpton, but also, he was probably at least 150 yards away, and there were no monitors or anything, so all right, I'm just standing in the cold by myself, listening to an echo of his voice I can't even hear, but I did.
And you feel guilty to this day. Look
walking
at you.
I just felt like, what a piece of crap I am.
And that's why I have a show named Black and White.
Chemda's so dedicated, she pissed herself.
I peed my pants also.
Egads.
I know. I didn't think that could really happen.
Like, did you just at one point just let go? Like,
not like
all right,
marathon style. No. Not like, you know what? I'm in it. Let's just go. No. I was wearing a dress.
It's crop dusting, but with piss.
I was wearing a dress, and again, I wasn't ready. I thought we were going to be in the park, so it's not like I peed ahead of time and then went. So at some point, I'm like, Black, ooh, that's okay. Let's just scale it back. And it was just, I'm like, that's manageable, because like a drop or two came out, and I'm like, totally manageable. And I went for it again. I'm like, that's 3 or 4 drops now. And I was like, I should.
It's like holding onto a rope when, it's like once you let go once, you're just like, it gets harder and harder.
Yeah. And so I'm like, well, that can't happen again. Then it happened again. And I'm like, then shut the fuck up. Just march. You don't have to yell. No, I have to yell. I yelled the entire goddamn way. I yelled for 2 hours. And if anyone got like, a little bit low on their shit, I was like, we got to do this louder. I decided I'm
that
the
was
cheerleader.
Also the thing when I was at the march is I'm just not a joiner. I'm not a man of the people. I'm a man of the persons. And I just, at a certain point, you start to feel like the chants. I started like in my mind, just being like, "Oh, you're gonna start a chant now? Is that what you're gonna do?"
No, I know.
And then you get like the rival chants. You get like one chant to your right and one chant to your left, and there's almost like a competition. And nobody ever acknowledged that that's happening, but it's happening.
See, for us, it happened like the front was on a different wave of something, and the back, and I'm like, how am I always in the middle of the chant? And then I'm like, I'm sort of double dutching it in. I'm just like, do I go to the front or the back chant? And
justice! Fuck the police! Justice! Now! Make change! All lives matter, sure.
But the worst of that was you think that they're doing it in a round or something, and then you realize everyone's just off rhythm. Right. So it's like, hey, hey, and then you hear like, so you go, hey, hey,
hey, hey,
hey, hey, ho, 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 like it's like that, and then it's like, no, you're just doing it that much later,
right?
And then we're like, what? Where is?
It sounds like a chorale. It's just the different voices.
Row your boat.
Right.
Well, it's been weird working on this show so much that I haven't been able to be tapped in as much as I ordinarily would want to be news-wise, because I'm just completely swamped, and so it's like I can't pay attention to this race news. I've got to do a show about race, right? And so
I would think that you would super duper have to be on that.
Theoretically, but we're so busy, and we're not shooting day and day. Like we're not shooting like these are the stories that happened this week. It's kind of more general topics and kind of off the beat stuff, off the beaten track stuff. And so we're not doing, if we were like The Daily Show or John Oliver, it would be much more like, here's the headlines. It's
You have
not
to
really
do
that.
it sort of evergreen.
Exactly.
Oh, showbiz, you guys.
Christian bounces into the Raiders room like July 4th, July 5th, and he's like, hey, guys, what's in the news? What are we going to yap about?
But we were on whatever the day after, I guess it would have been Thursday, we were scheduled to go do a bunch of man on the street stuff in Harlem. And we also shot at a black barbershop, and because we're doing one episode about sort of politics in general, and we had this sort of bit that Sherrod is basically taking me to a black barbershop to because that's like the town square for black culture, is like where they hash this stuff out. And so I was kind of going to try to learn about that or whatever. And it was the day that Philando Castile video, it was when it was being shown like in its entirety. And so we walked into this black barbershop for me to do this, fun, goofy remote. And we all stand silently and watch this 14-minute video of this guy dying. And it was honestly...
You just go, you know what? Thanks, bye.
No, we stayed. And it was... I would not say it was positive in terms of the show, because we had planned on shooting a lot more than we shot, and it obviously would have been lighter in tone.
Right.
But as a human being, it felt pretty amazing. But just to stand there, not just watch this stuff, but to watch it with a bunch of guys who very easily could have been that guy. You just absolutely. And to be there, it was uncomfortable, clearly, to watch a man die and sort of feel on some level that is something you have to deal with, but not me. Right. But I feel like a lot of people, if they actually had to watch this stuff in the room with white or black people, it would soften them a lot on both sides, I think. That. Not that one side needs to be softened a whole lot, for the record.
But isn't that...
One side needs a lot more softening than the other.
Can everybody behave all over the place?
Can't we just meet in the middle, guys? I hate that false equivalency. It's like, oh, well, both sides do it. No.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Good. Hey, kind of jumping in. I caught the show a little bit after it started, but I hear something that you were at the protest. Christian, you were down, I think, in Dallas, you said.
No, I went to the one in D.C. back in December.
But now there were a lot of rallies. This is an outrage. A few people get shot. We caught it on video. There are a lot of people getting shot every day, and we don't catch it on video, but there's an outrage. We go to the protest. We feel good about protesting, and then what? This is the same old cycle again. Nothing's going to change unless there's actual legislation. You go to the protest, what's going to change? What do you even want to change when you're at the protest?
Okay. So
you're going to sing, you're going to chant, but nothing changes.
I get it. All right. So here's what I want. So I think before there's protests and social media, and I think those have to do with each other because that is how I learned about the protest. This might not have been in front of me. I might not have been speaking so much about this. So you go there and you learn more things and you talk to more people and you're around the people who people are talking about, who people are killing, who cops are killing. And what happens is you come back to the social media and you notice that more people want to do more things. So now a couple of comics don't just post about the next protest. They talk about, okay, now that we're getting together, now that we're part of this group, can you guys help me call these numbers? Because these are the numbers that I found that we could maybe, rewrite some laws that might benefit us. So if you guys want to...
When does that happen? When does that stuff happen?
Well, they're starting to organize that. So they've accumulated a bunch of people, and then they start doing that. So now you have a collection of people who are willing to do other stuff other than march. Because if they're willing to come out and march, they might be willing to make the phone calls for you, to look up the information for you, to go to a town meeting for you. That's the hope. I am not expecting this in my lifetime to change. A lot of people hate the color of people's skin so harsh and so deep and so... They think it's so true that it's very difficult to change people's minds. But
I disagree with that. I actually, just addressing what you're saying, that things never change until they do. And there's always a tipping point. There's a tipping point in the 60s. You probably could have made the same arguments against, the Freedom Riders and people that were protesting in the South. And eventually, there's a tipping point that happens where people just get fed up. And enough people in the middle, instead of saying, fuck it, fuck these people, they are enough to say, like, okay, well, maybe you got a point. That's and those people then are able to pass laws. I agree with you that I generally, if you were to look into my honest head, I think most of the people at protests are kind of full of shit, honestly. But you need people who are full of shit.
Most
you need
people
foot
are
soldiers.
full of shit. Most
Yeah.
people who vote are full of shit.
Yeah.
You're still working with the general public, but this rah-rah, this noise that you're making is letting, let's say, people in other cities know, okay, some more people are on my side. That sea of human beings that are not just my color, that are other races, are actually caring about being on my side. Okay, I have more confidence to be able to step out or to be able to speak my mind maybe a little bit more. And it matters. That matters. The confidence that you can gain from seeing a number of other people believing in what you believe in is how the KKK works.
And I would say
they're very strong.
I would say it even matters for people who aren't on your side. If you can make yourself enough of a nuisance that making the changes they want made is less annoying to your life than telling them to fuck off, then they will do that.
That's right.
Nobody will care until you vote. Nobody will care until you vote. How many people do you think that went to that rally are actually voting for the mayor that sets up the that appoints the police commissioner? How many people actually care about that?
Listen, I am as prone to nihilism as anybody, but it's like your answer then is what? Your alternative is what?
How many people voted in the primaries
I'm
this
saying
year?
Get a vote on the ballot and rally and get people educated for
and how do you expect to get that vote? By protesting. That's how that happens. This is literally the mechanism.
By protesting. Protesting is I think a lot of times wasteful. But the protest is everybody in the circle. You're letting people know that you're frustrated with this, but then you're just sort of sitting there. Now what?
Then what are parades
It's
for?
not an either
Do you know
or.
what I mean?
It's not an either or.
Yeah.
What ends up happening though is the protest happens and nothing else happens.
That's not true. I just told you other things happened.
You're telling me what in theory you would like these protests to lead to. I doubt that that's going to.
They don't happen.
I voted twice this year, and not for being a president. This is the first time this year I voted twice. Why? Because I'm noticing more politics. I'm noticing more protests. I'm noticing people making noise.
Is it the people who are at the protests who are telling you the politics, or is it me on the phone with you telling you about these politics? Who genuinely and honestly, who's influencing you more to go vote?
What? I don't.
Oh, because he told me to vote. These people told me to rah-rah on the street. I think that they go hand in hand.
I think that they go hand in hand too, and I would say that even the term Black Lives Matter, if without these protests, no one would know those three words, and whether they choose to engage that concept or not, whether they do that fucking bullshit, all lives matter, whatever. They now have this thought in their head. They know that something called Black Lives Matter exists, and they are forced to, at least at one point in their life, Google and be like, what do they want? What are they arguing about? Without the protests, that would not happen. There are people in small towns, somebody's mom who wouldn't know about this shit, but she sees her daughter wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt. She sees some protest on the news. She's like, so what is this again? And that sort of cumulative effect it's messy. Like I said, a lot of these people are just kind of egotistical. But it influences
society. It influences the conversation.
Yeah, it's messy. But this is how change happens.
It's great, but then there's no action behind it. What is the action behind Black Lives Matter? What do they want?
Look at any of these other things that we had protests for.
I tried going to their website. I googled Black Lives Matter. I don't know what they want. You know what they want? You guys are at the protest.
I know one very clear thing. They want to change the way policing is done in minority communities. They want policemen retrained to learn about implicit bias.
Where were you?
They want less lethal weapons. They want body cameras on police officers. These are tactile, simple, Googleable things. To say they want nothing is absurd.
Website. I didn't see what you were saying.
How come Christian knows
you can find it in 10 seconds.
Where were you trying to go, Michael, the other day that these guys blocked your subway? Something's up.
And also, does what Christian just said, does that sound familiar to you, or is that a new thing that you think people are trying to fight against? You really didn't know?
I think that trying to get body cameras makes sense. I just don't see any. I don't see.
How did you hear about body cameras?
Specific like that.
How did you hear about body cameras? Like, why? What made you be aware of this controversy about body cameras?
Police shootings.
And But why? Why did you hear about why did you know about the police shootings? Why were they on the news? Why did they continue to be in the news for days?
Because they happened to get caught by dash cams and YouTube
and people got upset about it and took to the streets.
Media.
And then took to the streets and did social media and kept it in the news, which is why you now know that there is a body camera controversy. You would not have known that otherwise.
They're forcing the press to talk about it.
Yeah, same with
Sure. Let me just be clear though. It's great to know about this stuff, but then we're all sitting on our hands, feeling good, like we know something, like we went to a protest, and nothing ends up happening.
But now body cams
are. There
are more body cams though, aren't there?
Look at all the things that we protested.
More body cams.
We protested for, in the back when people are protesting for Black Lives, when people are physically protesting for women's rights to vote. I find this is a silly argument.
They are protesting specifically for women's right to vote. That's a very clear thing to protest for. You know why they're there. They are there for one specific goal. That's all I'm objecting to. I'm objecting to, instead of just being enraged and protesting, be enraged, protest with one specific goal. Let's get one thing on the ballot and protest and rally for that one specific thing on the ballot.
That is a step in the process. And maybe they're not there yet. Maybe that's where it transitions into, where there is a very clear one thing. It's not like the Civil Rights Act. It's a much more...
Why not?
Because it's a vague problem, dude. You're talking about police officers who do work in a dangerous business. You are talking about people who sometimes are, they're breaking the law in the process. Sometimes you're talking about law enforcement. You're talking about class. You're talking about race. These are
You listed a handful of really good things. The easiest thing on that is body cameras. Let's get body cameras in every place.
Let's
rally and yell
do.
for body cameras.
But it is happening. That is happening. Because people got angry.
I mean, I guess what you're saying is you want the body camera rally, not the Black Lives Matter rally.
Yes.
Well, go to that one.
That's it.
No one's stopping you. You can pee your pants too.
I mean,
it runs in the family,
okay.
probably.
Now I'll play devil's advocate on this guy's side.
Why?
Because that's me.
Why?
Because that's me.
Because you're the devil?
No, but there is an argument to be made. I don't agree with it, but there's an argument to be made.
Not a long one, let me just warn you.
That people would understand it more if there was a simple one sentence to answer to what is it that you guys want. If that
justice
now,
but that's
now.
those are concepts.
So ambiguous.
That's an ambiguous statement. I agree with Chemda on this, but I think that is the argument to be made, is that saying we want justice. What? Okay. Like, what does that mean in tactile terms?
Do we not expect anybody to think of one thought beyond the sentence that we're giving them?
Not if you give them a way that they don't have
justice? I don't
Where
know
is justice on the ballot? Do I want justice? Yes or no on the ballot? Where is that? How does justice change the police chief? How does justice change the mayor? Give us one thing to rally against. Unless you do one thing, unless you have one thing to rally against, you're never going to make any change. Nothing's going to change. We're all doing the same thing. This was jerk off.
It's like one or two tinkles, and I'm like, that's not going to happen again. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, I yelled again, like more tinkles came out, and then I was like, ooh, I think that was extra tinkle. And I looked down. Mm-hmm. And there's a circle, a wet circle on my dress. It looks like I peed in my pants, and I noticed a lot of people are taking pictures of us. So if there are ever pictures of this protest, and there are, this is how I want you to look for it, because look for it. Post it up. So I have like that thing is not sweat, it's pee. It's like a clear pee circle. So what I did was I took my dress, and I put a knot right there.
Oh,
my
smarty.
knot of pee. Then I met with Libby later, and I totally gave her a hug.
See, I would have just taken a bottle of water. Did she get pee on you?
I told her ahead of time. I pounded her to go, but she must have forgotten because she gave me a hug.
I would have just taken a bottle of water and poured it all over the rest of my dress, because then I'd be like, I spilled water all over myself.
Right. Well, I didn't have water. I was going to say, like, I was like, oh, my God, how am I going to explain this? And I was like, who cares? I peed myself. I don't know.
Is this why hippies smell? Because everybody's peeing themselves?
Because we want justice.
And the pee gets trapped in the long pubes.
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. So in conclusion.
Oh, my goodness.
I was with a girl once who had really long pubic hair, and it smelled like piss. And it wasn't like I want you to conform to non-traditional standards of beauty, or like, I want you looking like a baby doll. It was just that the hair there's pee in that hair, and it smells.
There's ways to avoid that.
That doesn't sound like it. You're an animal. Michael, have you ever slept with a black woman?
Yes.
All right, so you're trying to make a difference.
Oh my God! Hang up.
I'm doing my part. I'm also on the Black Lives Matter website, and all I see are just really broad strokes of what should happen.
You should write them.
I don't see anything specifically.
Then write them. You have Giuliani.
So what you're saying is their branding is not what it could be.
Right. Giuliani's on Michael's side. He's calling the Black Lives Matter movement, quote, inherently racist and anti-American.
Thanks for calling in, caller. Thanks for listening to our show. I hope your mother's doing well.
Protest with some specific purpose.
Listen, you protest and then tell me how to protest. Get out of here.
I do.
Christy Cello is saying, to suggest that the Black Lives Matter movement somehow means that white lives don't matter is crazy to me. My sister Nicole matters. So does my sister Bethany. They both matter. But if Bethany is happily chilling while someone gives Nicole a Randy Savage elbow drop, I'm going to focus on helping Nicole.
That's well said.
Yeah.
If you have 2 slices of pizza, but a third person comes over.
All right. So Michael says, stop protesting people. Thank you. Abby Crutchfield, if Law and Order borrows from real life headlines, they're going to have one repetitive season coming up.
Right? Everything's funny and sad.
These are tweets you're reading? Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What's up, Christian? You don't have that segment in your show?
Are
you confused?
No, but it made it sound. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was on Hot Topics. Is just the Wendy Williams show.
The worst.
Christian doesn't believe in Twitter.
You presented it as if they wrote on the message board. I thought there was somebody saying that on the message board.
I didn't mean to misrepresent anybody, and I apologize to Christy and Abby. This was typed on Twitter.
How many characters did they use?
Right. Do you hear about Roger Ailes, the guy in charge of Fox News? He 6 women so far. He has harassed.
It's almost too good to be true.
To get if you want to work there, you gotta have sex with him. He'd take his dick out and that kind of thing.
It must feel so good to take your dick out because you do it a lot. That's got to be a breezy, beautiful thing. I don't know. Like, let me take my dick out. Not appropriate, but it feels good.
You know, if you want to play with the big boys,
is that the news that he actually did take his dick out?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't read that.
He would
he just read it to us.
Wait, can you read it again? I'm sorry.
Sure. I'm reading from a newspaper right now, everybody.
Fuck you. No, I thought
Roger Ailes is not calling in. This is from a newspaper. Page 5 of today's paper. You can see it for yourself, but I'll read it anyway.
I'm sorry, I zoned out.
Roger Ailes, he's 76 now. A woman said, if you want to play with the big boys, you have to... he said to them, if you want to play with the big boys, you have to lay with the big boys. And he would lay on a couch, take his dick out. He proceeded to pull down his pants and very gingerly pulled his genitals out and said, kiss them.
How do you do that gingerly? What does gingerly look like?
I got to look up that word.
How else would you do it?
With 2 fingers?
I don't grab them, just wrench them out. I mean, they're balls. You want to be gingerly.
I honestly think gingerly means with 2 fingers.
If your legs look good in a garter belt, he told one lady.
Like one of those machines that picks the toys out?
Yes.
Like that.
With 2 fingers, yeah.
If your legs look good in a garter belt, I'll know you have great legs, so I need to see you in a garter belt.
What a faggot. Sorry. I'm sorry. Clothing.
So
bad move. Take it back.
So I go to his office, and right away he says, sit on the sofa and lift your skirt up. I had to do different poses to work for him.
Oh, he's so extra.
I honestly, trust me, I love this more than life itself. Right. But
you're not buying it? Look at those women on Fox News. There's not
no.
Sexist.
What I'm saying is I'm shocked that there would be this overt stuff that happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would just, as a businessman, I would assume that he would have at least had a buffer, had somebody to kind of do this shit for him. Do you know, prime women first?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you think he'd be a better harasser. I guess what I'm saying. A guy who's been successful as him, you think he'd be better at this.
He is the best because he knows that things won't happen to him. He understands that this is the kind of shit that happens.
But man, maybe this stuff was going on before social media really exploded, because I don't think that there's a person alive, or it's shocking to me when people still get in trouble for doing stuff like this in this era, where it's like, you didn't know that all it takes is a fucking Facebook posting, or like you don't understand that you need to...
Have you heard of privilege? This is what it does to people's brains.
I guess it must.
It must, yeah.
It's just shocking to me.
I think, yeah.
It's just shocking.
Let's think about it a little more. But
like
part
I
of
could
us thinks
see
it
the whole
must.
sexism thing, or like, hey, we should have dinner and discuss this, or like, meet me in my suite and we'll go over those numbers, and then like, but just this
is absolutely the same as some college guy gets caught raping a person who is passed out, and still people are like, you're ruining his career. You could blatantly do that. You can blatantly harass people, sexually harass people. People could find out about it, and you could still get off, and people could still go, you're ruining this other. That is the privilege and the rape culture.
Right.
And all
Of
that
course.
stuff.
I'm just shocked that he was so stupid about it. I mean, I felt the same way about Bill Clinton, though. I was like, surely he couldn't be that dumb. And then it turned out he was. So obviously these things happen.
Rapists are usually known for being really intelligent.
And really thinking things through and
Yeah.
playing out scenarios.
And caring about the next step and how things turn out.
He used her as a humidor. Calm down. You know what I mean? Oh, well.
You've been waiting for that one.
For years. until a guest just brought it up out of the blue. So thank you. Finally.
Oh, God. When Hillary started running for president, I remember back in 2008, so many hack comics, like older comics, like, oh, here it comes, the old Lewinsky bits that they've had gathering dust for 8 years, and they all came back. It's like, what's really interesting is her husband, Bill. Like, they just use her as a way to get to Bill.
Right. Speaking of cars, do you know Bill Clinton has a car? And he was with that secretary. Hey, I want to mention this. ZipRecruiter. Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? I'm going to tell you. Posting your job in one place is enough to find quality candidates. True or false?
False.
Of course, false.
Okay, I get those points. Christian, wake up.
You go to all the places.
You go to all the places. Yes. True.
If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. Not some, but now you can do that.
True.
And it's practical. With ZipRecruiter.com, you post your job to 100-plus job sites, including social media, Facebook, Twitter, all with a single click.
Wait, but I want to do this for free.
Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide.
How?
Just post once and watch qualified candidates roll into ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. Okay, you want to try it for free?
Yes.
Go to ZipRecruiter.com/talent.
Gotcha. Free.
Yeah. ZipRecruiter. Chemda really was putting me out on a limb. Thank God they have this deal.
Mm-hmm. That's how I negotiate. Make this happen.
Right. Not free, but it's not too bad, Chemda. No, it's free.
Thank you.
ZipRecruiter.com/talent. One more time. Try it free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/talent. ZipRecruiter is used by over 800,000 businesses. It might be good for you.
How condescending that was at the end. You think you might want to go there? Yeah, probably.
Fortune 500 companies use it daily. I don't know. Could it help you too? My goodness, I'm just getting angry.
Could it help you with your little figurines that you're making and putting on Etsy?
I saw Bob Dylan the other day. I was wondering if he was going to do some, Black Lives Matter speech or, something about cops. And thank God he didn't, because I would have no idea what the fuck he was saying. No, he did 2 sets, so he takes a break.
Oh, that's cool.
But I don't really know Bob Dylan, so I looked up the songs ahead of time to do some research. So I knew the break was coming. But if I didn't, I wouldn't know it could have been the end of the show. He's like, no, I'm going to go. And everybody's looking at each other like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I looked it up. It's a break. They're like, oh, okay, thank you.
Keith is ushering everybody.
Yeah.
It's just a break, folks. Be back in 10.
Right.
Keith, they should put you up on the stage like where they have a sign language interpreter just to
It's just a break. He brought that stupid harmonica. That was a bummer.
Did you bring yours?
Honestly, I was going to, and I forgot.
I tend to find harmonica playing a real bummer.
Right?
It's like, ugh,
I remember
it just feels so corny and hammy.
I tend to find harmonicas a total bummer.
But it always just feels like oh, now we're down home in it. Like now we're getting, like old timey. Ugh.
Yeah, his songs are good, and then all of a sudden he just breaks into it.
Come gather round, people, wherever you roam.
I'm like, come on.
He's pretty good.
It seemed forced, Bob. You know what I mean? Now, somebody needs to tell Bob Dylan, like, what his greatest hits are. So that I don't think he knows. Like, everyone must get stoned. That's a good one. At times they are changing. You could have sung that one. Like a Rolling Stone, highly popular. Mr. Tambourine Man might have been enjoyable. I don't know what the fuck he's saying. No one did. It's the only concert I've ever been to where I'm looking around and no one cares. I'm with my friend Tommy. Tommy's fun and
they
funny.
all went home and said it was the greatest concert of their life.
Right. I'm like, why are you buying shirts? You were falling asleep, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no one knew. Like, I don't know. He did, for an encore, sing Blowing in the Wind, and even then, nobody recognizes it. It's like, just do it the way you did it.
Well, I kind of assumed that he was at that point in his career
Where
where
fuck
he is
us.
where he is playing well, that too, but that he is playing mostly deep cuts because first of all he's sick of playing the hits,
Right.
and secondly the people who I think a lot of people that go see Bob Dylan have probably seen him 50 times,
Right.
and so they're the people who want to be like, oh my god, I can't believe he played the boo, you know,
Right.
like
But they didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm looking around. They all have
because that's like the Dead or like Fish,
Right.
You don't want to play the hits, you want to play the
Right.
Well, you have 4 hours. They'll play the bleh.
They'll
at
get
some
to it
point,
all.
Yeah.
Tommy's a good friend because he doesn't make me feel stupid about how I don't know directions and how to go somewhere.
I must be a bad friend.
You can, the worst. You can,
Which
Tommy's
way
a
we-
good friend because he lets me drive into traffic.
I literally drove Keith around the corner and goes, "Where are we?"
I'm pretty bad too.
like,
Yeah,
stop it.
Keith.
Not nice. Not nice. So you can't bring an umbrella. It started raining a little bit, and you can't bring an umbrella into the stadium. So people would leave their umbrella on one of those graded fences. So there's umbrellas everywhere. And I'm like, oh, I think this is kind of funny. I just went to the side. We're all being corralled in one direction, right? We're not moving too fast. I go to the side to take a picture of it. I turn around. I'm like, oh, fuck. Tommy! He's 2 people away, right, waving his hands. Right here, buddy. Oh, thank you. It is very scary when I had
When I lose my daddy.
Yeah, I went to the bathroom and I had to go by
Son,
myself.
we'll meet at the car.
Remember A3. It's the purple one.
We're in draft lot Q.
I go to the bathroom. I come back
Without an adult?
without an adult. It was
Okay.
scary, and I'm looking around like I know I'm in the general area, and these 2 women were sitting in the front row of that section, and they're like, "Up here, you're up here."
Oh, it's a communal thing now.
And then the second time I went to the bathroom, I come back and I go, "I'm right up here," and they go, "Very good." 40-year-old women, excellent.
Maybe you didn't notice that, like, you're bad at direction because you grew up in a really small town.
Right.
And
There's
people
one
would
road.
just point your way home, like, on the way. Like, all right, Mally, 1 more block, and then Cindy will point you in the next direction on the corner.
Right.
Very nice neighbors you had.
Yeah, so it was a fun time, but I don't know what the fuck he's saying or singing. Nah.
I don't get Bob Dylan. I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean,
I don't either.
I'm
but-
a music obsessive person, but Bob Dylan, I have tried. I own like 5 Bob Dylan albums, and just doesn't.
Well,
do
I would
anything
love
for
you
me.
to not like my shit.
Well, no, most of them I got when
Stolen.
I won that game show. I won VH1's 100 greatest CDs of all time,
Right.
and so like 3 or 4 of them were Dylan CDs.
Ah,
so that's,
okay.
but I've given a lot of time to fucking Blood in the Tracks and Blonde on Blonde. And just don't give a shit.
Speaking of music, I was saying the other day how I saw the Macy's 4th of July fireworks show, and it had the Air Force guys singing, and it's so corny and dopey. It makes us look like a bunch of pussies. That wouldn't scare England way back then, So I asked the audience.
Why aren't they scaring people with their music?
Yeah, little, let the bodies hit the floor. Which of the following would you rather be caught doing was our poll. Sucking North Korea's big fat Asian penis or singing in the Air Force on live television during the Macy's 4th of July fireworks special. 27%, including me, would rather be caught sucking North Korea's big fat Asian penis.
I think you should start sucking dick. You clearly want to.
No, I don't want to
Yeah,
do
it
either.
seems
I'm just
of
saying.
all the things you
Right.
could have balanced that poll out with. It's like, what a weird.
I have
You
to,
literally could have said anything else.
I have to pick something that I don't want to do.
But some people do, right?
North Korea.
Why does North
okay.
Korea have one giant penis as well?
They're so weird.
Good point. Touche.
Let me mention Touch of Modern. This is a cool website. This company, touchofmodern.com, go there and you'll see that they work directly with top designers to offer timeless and unique products, jaw-dropping tech gadgets and gear, sleek iPhone cases, they have it all. Even words that don't exist. I'm looking in here. It's an H2O ninja mask. It's like you put on your face and you can breathe through your nose snorkeling.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Then you don't have to think about it. What? Really? I didn't even know that existed.
Right? They have just the coolest stuff. Right now, you get immediate access to these deals when you sign up at touchofmodern.com. That's touchofmodern.com. Do it today because tomorrow it's going to be different.
Yeah, they keep changing their deals.
That's how life rolls in the fast lane. They work with the designer. They buy in bulk. They offer it to you. You notice it then or you don't and you miss out. Go there and then go there again. You'll love them. You're welcome.
Yeah, touchofmodern.com.
I saw this. Chemda wrote on. Now she didn't call me. I just want to be clear. This is a tweet, I believe, but it could be Facebook. In case you find out I'm lying later. Lucy in the sky with diamonds, and she shows a picture of a small stamp. I know what that means. LSD. This pothead graduated and is now on acid.
Yeah, I did acid for the first time.
Oh, how was it?
Amazing.
I want to, but I thought I was too old to do something like that. How old are you? You're 40? Yeah. Oh, that makes me feel better.
What
no,
the
man,
fuck?
I'm saying I'm only 3 years older than that, and so it's like if you feel like at 40 that was something you could do for the first time.
We've always been the same age. Just letting you know.
But I didn't know how much younger. I assume everyone's younger than me now.
So what happens? You turn into a dragon.
No, there was no turning into a dragon. That is really very cartoonish. There was like none of that. I wasn't going to do it. Hennessy was going to do it. And Xerxes was going to do it with a couple of friends at our place. And so I was like, I'll just hang out with you guys. Because I've hung out with people on mushrooms and like whatever drug. And I enjoy their high. But I didn't think I was ready to do acid. So that afternoon, Hennessy was like, I think you should do it with us. And I was like, I will do it because I had recently decided I'm going to do the drugs. Like, I'm sick of like being scared of it. I now have enough information on a lot of drugs where I know to pick the ones that are not dangerous, that are not like going to mess with my brain, or that I'm not going to try meth. I'm not going to try heroin, but I will try hallucinogens.
And bath salts.
No. But so acid is one of those. Like, so, but I didn't know if I wanted to take it in front of people or with people. I didn't know, the emotional aspect of it. I didn't know if I was going to like be embarrassed by anything, so I wouldn't go with the high. I didn't want to be restricted in any
your head and kind of
yeah. And then so when I talked to him, he was like, I really think you should do it today. I think these are
When you talk to Xerxes.
No, well, Xerxes has been trying to convince me to do this for years.
Right.
So, but and me and Hennessy have talked about it, and so I had decided to do it, but I wanted to do it just with him, because I could like poop in front of him and like be fine, but
and that could happen. She pees and she's sober. She pees herself. Fucking animal.
So he was like, I think that you are thinking that a lot is going to happen that's not going to happen. You're not going to bug out. It's not going to be as intense as you're thinking. It's not the cartoons that you watch where people, change into shapes. You've been questioning a lot of things enough that when acid hits you, if you have a question or if you're questioning something and you don't want to hear the answer, you could go into a bad trip. But generally, I haven't been like that. I've been, very open to things, and I've been asking enough questions. So I asked even more. I was like, what about the physical aspect? It's not a physical aspect. You're not going to throw up. It goes directly to your brain, kids. And so I was like, okay. And then, part of it was, hey, when they showed the hippies doing it, they were like freaking out. And then I thought for a second, I'm like, no, they weren't. Holy shit. They were lying. Because I was around those hippies. They weren't freaking out. They were being, goofy, laughing, silly. I was in that room, the same room that they took a picture of, and said, like, look at these crazy people. They weren't crazy. They loved the people in the room. They were sharing ideas and happiness and literally laughter. And I'm like, oh, my God. I just started bawling. I was like, monsters, because they've been scaring us about information that is so false that they have to know is false because some of them did it, and they're just taking it off the market and criminalizing it. And and then calling the people, like hippies, literally you're calling them monsters, and they're the people who want to share love with other people. That's the devil. So I'm like, okay, it's time to do this. I'll do this with these people. They love me. Let me be weird in front of people and like understand that like embarrassment is just a joke. That's just goofy. So I'm taking it. So as soon as I take it, of course, my body is very sensitive to stuff, and my emotions like generate a lot of tense in my body. So when I take it, within the first few minutes, I'm just like, oh, I'm feeling it in my body. This is very tense. And then I'm like, no, this has to be in my head. I was already told.
Know for a fact.
Yeah. And then I was like, no, just think like you're fine. And then I did, and it's fine. So, and that was the rule. Like, if you think that you're not that you're not fine, all you have to do is go, no, this is fake, and you're fine. And that worked. And then I was like, when do I know that it comes on? Because it hadn't even come on yet. And then I was like, oh, those leaves are beautiful. And then I'm like, no, I always think those leaves are beautiful. They're really beautiful. And then I'm like, whoa, look at this thing. And I'm like, no, I really appreciate that. Usually that's really nice. I have, talking about that. I'm like, how do you know the difference? And I go to the bathroom, and shit starts happening. And everyone, they were outside, but the bathroom like windows open, so you can kind of hear me from in there. And all you hear is, I just start cracking up, and then you hear like everyone cracking up at my cracking up. Things started moving. The look of everything was different, brighter. Like,
did you feel any sense of danger, like when you're walking around, that maybe you might trip over something because
no.
you're like out of it?
No, but you
That's
do
what I would be worried about.
The perception of the floor is a little bit different, but you recognize that it's different, and I am in my home, so I know where I'm stepping, and it wasn't so kooky that I'm going to step off a ledge.
Right.
Because you're not going to take me by a ledge.
Yeah.
And my outside, and I have to post this picture, it's got a bunch of leaves and these trees that have these pink things, and you look up and it's like, oh my God, we're in the perfect place for acid.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff started happening.
Christian, did you think when people would say acid trip, do you think they mean they're tripping on the floor?
That's funny. Keith made it funny.
At some point in the trip, we were like, let's go outside into the world. Now, everyone's getting a little nervous. We live like close enough to the water where we could walk a half a mile, which is nothing, but we decided not to do that because that might be a little weird. As soon as we walk outside, we're like, are we walking funny? Be cool, everybody. Be cool. Are we cool? And I'm like, yeah, everyone's super cool. Very cool. We were only walking like 2 blocks to their house just to see what a different room would feel like. It does feel different. Every room feels different. Everything's like, I walked out and I'm like, I get it. It's so cool. But then
they're walking like Monty Python. No one can tell.
So we were in there for literally an hour because Xerxes was like, okay, I'm putting a timer on because you can't tell how long you're,
Oh, sure.
You can't tell time. And he's like, okay, we're going to leave in an hour. We're not going to leave before. We're not going to leave after, so that we know, when the bell goes off, we go. The bell went off, we go, and we're like,
what are you timing?
How long we are in this other place, so that we remember to leave, or that, we don't.
Are you following?
I am. Just that when you're probably on a trip like that, time becomes very fluid and you're not able to keep track. I know when I get high, sometimes it's like, I've been here for like 2 hours. Like, you've been here for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Vice versa. And so you bring a clock so that you remind yourself, okay, we've been an hour. It's time to go now.
Yeah, just because we're not in our home, just to kind of keep track of things. Doesn't matter. On the way back, again, this is literally 2 blocks from the house. There's my normal bodega, like the guy that I know and things like that. So we're like, somebody wants candy. Okay. We walk in there, and oh my God. The guy, first of all, was like, hello, drugs. Like,
oh, yeah. But whenever I like deal with a salesperson and I'm high, I'm always like, they know.
Right.
Well, I don't think people can tell when you're stony baloney, but we like just poured into this and just started cracking up. And the guy, this is my usual guy. So we normally buy, and this is the worst because he just thinks we're total druggies. We normally buy blunt wraps and blunts. And so he goes, blunt wraps? And he just starts getting us blunt wraps. So now we're all cracking up again. And he thinks he's the funniest person on earth. He's cracking up and he's like, and he's giving us that face like, I know you're on drugs. And I'm like, dude, I know you know. Like, just give me the thing.
How old is the guy? Is he like an older man? Like
not that much. I can't.
He's cool. He's young enough to be cool.
Yeah. I mean,
but I just think like because the guy at my deli, like he's a very conservative Muslim guy in his like probably early 60s or whatever, and the idea of like him knowing I was on drugs like breaks my heart.
Oh really?
Yeah.
This guy was like, oh my God, he was so amused by this. And then he thinks we're so out of it because fucking Xerxes, oh my God. He goes, we're going to give you this thing, and he puts money on the table, and you give us that thing and give us whatever you need to give. And I'm like, oh my God, we just want to buy this. And it's like, it's a bodega. All you have to do is put the thing on the counter. You give them the money. You don't even have to speak. Right. Now it's a 5-minute speech about like what we're doing. And I'm like, the guy knows. Just give him the money. And then the guy goes, do you want this stuff also? And I'm like, no, we don't need it today. And he's trying to push because he thinks I'm out of my mind. He's talking to me like I'm out of my mind. He's like, do you want this? And I'm like, no, dude, like, I can hear you. I'm here. Like, I'm just laughing a lot.
Xerxes thinks he just invented trading things. It's like, I'm going to call it a transaction.
I'm always worried that, like, the guy at the deli is going to see that I'm high and be like, this candy bar is $14. Yeah. And I'll just be like, oh, okay. Because I totally would. I'd be like, oh, that seems weird. All right. Okay.
This guy had the opportunity to do that, and he gave us the exact change. He was right on. But he was trying to push, you know, all these blunt wraps, because usually we just buy 10 at a time just to, like, have it. And I'm like, no, but we'll take 2 of them. And he goes, no, take all of them on credit. Like, you can give it to me tomorrow. I'm like, I'm holding a 20. I'm fine. Like, I'm...
He's treating you like, oh, this poor street person.
Yes,
I'm gonna.
Yes. I'm just like, I'm actually having a conversation with you. I'm laughing, but like, I'm looking you in the face, and it's good. It's just my friend is like describing in one paragraph what a purchase is.
Right.
Oh my God. So after that got done, well, a little before that, we were having so much fun. I'm like, oh my God, this is the motherfucking best. So they were like, take another half. And I'm like, no! Because it suddenly felt like if I get any, like, I don't know what that's going to do. I can't make a decision while I'm on it already. And then they're like, no, you're not going to get higher at this point. It's just going to prolong it. And I'm like, give it to me. So I took another half. Oh my God, it was so much fun.
But did you feel like you did get higher?
No, I didn't.
It just kept it going?
Yeah, no. They said at the time that we were high, they said, you're not going to get any higher than that, and I didn't get higher than that.
And how long from how long would that half have to have kept you high?
I don't know, because the whole, like, I took the half like an hour later than a couple people, and it's not like I was higher for longer. I don't know how much of a huge difference it made.
But it's like, how much of your day do you have to block off for that?
It's done. The day's over. Yeah. No, it's at least 8 hours, whether you're tripping on one or more. Okay. So, and we blocked out the time. It's been on my calendar.
Yeah.
So it has. You got to do drugs responsibly.
I
like
agree.
This was. Oh, there's another thing I forgot. Okay, so as soon as we dropped it, it actually was like kind of time to eat. But so everyone's starting to get hungry. Hennessy orders food, and by the time the food got there, we were like, "Food, no!" Oh! And it turns out that there's a bunch of people who do acid, order a bunch of food, and then never eat it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Because just the idea of eating, like, it sounds like a good idea, but then when you see it, it doesn't look appealing?
It's like almost too much, because you're already in this space of like a lot of shit going on. Too much sensation. Yeah, so if you add like a mouth sensation, it's going to like, there's so much happening. Like you kind of do feel.
So you're saying it's a good diet, is what you're saying?
No, because of it,
LS
like
diet?
Please, I had like 3 pizzas by the end of the day, because you fluctuate, so you do get hungry. It's not like Molly where you're definitely not going to eat until the end. You will get hungry, but when they came, we were like kind of peaking or something like that. So in the waves, you eat in between.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are you going to do it again?
Yeah, on Maui. It's planned. It's in the calendar.
I have a tab in the kitchen right now.
So the one thing that was missing from this is water. Like every time I washed my hands after I peed, I was like, oh God. And if nobody was over, I'd be in the tub like most of this time because all I wanted to do was like, I could see why the hippies were naked because, it would be inappropriate, but I would have taken off my clothes. Like
just feeling the wind on your body.
Just anything. Oh my God. It was so good. I cried at some point. It's phenomenal.
Do you think Roger Ailes should be saying, I just do a lot of acid? That's all that's happening.
That's weird. Like, well, you tied that up.
Yeah. As a comedian, you can recognize that it's something earlier was said, and then I made reference
I can recognize that terrible callback.
Well, so we should be going to Hennessy's parents at the end of the year, which is on Maui. So I want to take a day where we take it by the ocean, in the ocean.
And you don't feel like you have a temptation to do it sooner? He's like, well, I'm not doing anything on Tuesday,
I'll tell you, first of all, you can't do it casually. You can't just do it on a Tuesday. I got to go to work on Tuesday. So by the time I get home, it's not fun. You don't want to like exhaust yourself. And also you could take it pretty often and not be fucked up, like not mess with your brain.
That's why I'm afraid to do it.
Yeah. No, you can take it pretty often. Like if I wanted to take it before the end of the year, it's not going to harm me. So I can do it. I told, Ari was in here recently, Ari Shafir, and he's talking about, he always talks about these drugs. So
he's a walking acid tab. You lick him, you get high.
I text him after this. I was like, you were right. Do all the drugs. And he's like, right? He goes, Shroom Fest is next week. And I'm like, dude, I know you've said. Right. You've mentioned. But I do have it on my calendar for Shroom Fest next year. I will be trying shrooms. I want to do ayahuasca. I want to do everything in that genre.
Ayahuasca is the one that makes you puke, though, right?
I know. I'm worried about puking.
I have a weird fear of puking.
That's why I haven't done mushrooms yet.
Oh, mushrooms?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But I think, no, it's enough already. Like, it took me 40 years to get over, like, what people have said about it when they're just lying to me. So apparently all these smart people that I admire in one way or another are doing it, are talking about how it elevates parts of your life and your brain and the way you think. And
Sam Harris said that.
It opens you up to things. Like, it's just... so why am I not doing it? I'm taking the precautions. I'm finding out what's better from my brain and my body. I'm doing it responsibly. So I'm sick of like being scared of the nonsense that we were fed on stupid commercials because they decided there was a war on drugs. The fact that people go to jail for things like acid it was a bunch of friends like loving and laughing with each other. Like there was nothing horrible. I mean, I know that acid trips could go bad if you're not ready for, some information that comes in, because if the question that you asked, you don't want the answer for.
But that's, how do you allot for that? I mean, that's easy to say, but how do you know what questions are going to be asked? And what if you don't say no? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
What if the information comes to you before you've had a chance to allow it or not allow it?
So I feel like just asking that question is asking yourself if you're ready to be asked random questions and to be ready to be emotional about those questions. Also, if you feel like there is a chance, then you surround yourself with people who you would feel comfortable opening up, and maybe they can help guide you. Maybe you want to put someone who's sober in the situation so that they can babysit you, because it's not going to hurt you physically. I mean, if you're under 25 and you have, like, I think schizophrenia in your family or in your gene pool, then there's a risk. But if you're over 25, I think all the psychological illnesses don't matter for this drug anymore. So there's not, if you set yourself up, like if you go out drinking and you do a designated driver, and if you prepare yourself and then you're less likely to have a bad drunken night.
Right.
The same thing can happen with these drugs.
I'm just saying there is, in fact, hope in dope.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, there is.
Hugs and drugs.
Absolutely.
She's like, why are they separate?
Yeah.
It does seem like a weird dichotomy.
Yeah, that's so stupid. I mean, I'm not going to do meth. I'm not going to do heroin. I don't think I'm going to do coke, because those don't sound like they would be fun for my brain, for my body, for my
I worry
experience.
about coke. I mean, well, the thing is, I hate people on coke. Like,
that's what everybody says. So
that's why I've never done it. But when I think about me, and sometimes I have a hard time just being productive, or a hard time kind of working in a way that I'm focused, and I think like, oh man, if I did coke, I would probably write so much material. Like,
No, that's Adderall is what you want.
I've tried it. Didn't really work for me.
Well, coke's not going to do it.
Right. How'd you write that novel so fast? Cocaine. You really focus.
But I mean, there's a little truth to that. I mean, you talk about like SNL in the 70s, like how they're just, I remember Jay Moore, he wrote a book about SNL and he said that they still run the schedule there as if everyone is still doing coke. Like that's their weekly schedule. It's like, yeah, we start work at 3 in the afternoon, we work until 6 next morning, and
yeah, but you're saying that about coke, but people, a lot of writers say that about alcohol. A lot of poets say that about a weed. Like
they just don't want to be in their own heads. Is really what it is.
Maybe it opens up a piece of your brain that you can't normally tap into as easily. You can focus on that part of the brain, or you can move it around like you've never moved it before.
No, I know. Like for me, when I get high, like that actually is really good for me coming up with ideas. And but I don't. If I actually have tangible work that I have to get done by a certain hour, it's useless.
See, but that's how you use drugs correctly. Yeah. So I don't take an Advil when my knee doesn't hurt, and then everything's okay.
Right.
It's just it's a drug.
Someday you'll probably have to because it's a good blood thinner.
So that's my acid trip, huh? Don't you guys want to do acid with me now?
It's more like an acid journey.
Thank you.
No, I like the parts where you were crying. That sounds like a good time I'd want to be around. Vaughn Harper is...
Yeah, I was really thinking acid really sounds like your drug, Keith.
Is a Brooklyn... Vaughn Harper worked at a radio station here in New York, WBLS. Even though it's not a station we would listen to, you would know him from The Quiet Storm. You'll probably recognize his voice.
I've listened to WBLS. That's how I found out about Wendy Williams. She was originally on that station.
It's 107.5 WBLS Four Tops, and I just can't walk away. Not from you, because you are the spice of life. And
Bob Dylan made more sense.
Love is a part of you, so that makes love a part of the spice of life. We're going to send all the love we can to the Bernstein Institute and everybody over there, and that's from your counselor, George, and that's at 18th Street and 2nd Avenue.
It feels good
Spice
to
of
listen
life.
to his voice.
Right?
Like it just feels good.
Manhattan Transfer as we continue. Glad you're here. Please stay. Like your company, you know what I mean? Good. You're listening to the best. It's 107.5 WBL and S.
That's kind of cheating the way he's going to the post, and the song will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.5, 1.
It was weird. There was a long pause there where he maybe thought it was going to come in.
WBL and S.
Did he pass away? Is that what?
Yeah, 71 years old.
Oh.
Yeah.
They were very clever, that station. They used to be like, WBL kicking ass.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you wouldn't think with that music, that terrible music I just heard. You wouldn't think. Christian Finnegan, his Twitter account is @ChristFinnegan.
Yes. I am now 10,000 egg avatar bots have followed me in the last week. Something weird is going on my Twitter,
weird.
and it's kind of scaring me. Literally 10,000.
Congrats.
I don't look at it as congrats. I hate fake followers. Like I don't like. I hate the idea of somebody being like, "Oh, let's look at who's following Christian," and like, "Oh, this motherfucker went out and bought followers."
Mm-hmm.
Like I hate that.
And then he went on a podcast and said, "Oh, I don't get it. All these these eggs." And it's like
Covering my tracks.
How does that happen?
So weird.
Because I definitely didn't buy them, right?
But it's amazing. You can get so many for just $200. Chemda and Hennessy will be on Right Now, is the name of the show, with Carolyn Castiglia. Castilla? All right.
This has been a controversy since I started doing comedy, I swear to God.
Yeah. I've always heard Constiglia, and then she was over here and she's like, by the way, it's Constilia. But I'm like, but everyone says Constiglia.
Yeah, then go with it. Yeah,
it's same thing Alison Castillo, and then it was Alison Castillo, and then it's,
It's the way the meanings of words change,
it's like when people say Ted Alejandro.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Thursday, July 14th, Carolyn Somebody will be hosting this show. July 14th at 8 p.m. at Union Hall. Kevin Allison will be there as well. You'll be talking about guns. That'll be fun. Mm-hmm. It's a fundraiser for Moms Demand Action and Human Rights Watch. Your brother Michael's writing in saying, "What's the point?" Look, they're doing what they can. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Christian
I
always
didn't realize that was your brother, that whole conversation.
Oh, you certainly laughed at those mom jokes.
That's it. KeithAndTheGirl.com/VIP. It's every show we ever made.
It's our premium program. We think you should sign up for it.
It has all our spin-off shows. I just did one with Jason Burke. Jason's one of these people that thinks he's a big drinker and so just starts pounding him. Starts, you hear the slurring and everything. It's fun. But then we went and played bocce afterwards.
Oh, my God.
And he's one of these guys that when he drinks, he thinks it's fun to hit you like we're on Jackass. So he'll just punch you a little bit.
Ouch.
And I'll just take both my hands, just slam it into his chest as hard as I could.
What is wrong with you?
Well, I'm not taking hits. Why do
And then
people
he
think they
keeps
can just
doing
hit
it?
you? And then he waits a little bit, and then he forgets. I hit back, and then does it again, and I hit him again.
Oh, yeah. The way women hang out is so weird.
He's one of those people, when he gets drunk, he thinks it's funny to add gay,
No, come on.
Yeah.
But like gay in terms of just saying things in a lisping voice, or like he'll like put
Gay
his
like
hand on you.
gay
and,
like hand on me, kiss
yeah.
on the
That's
cheek.
a weird
That's
one.
not
That's such
pretending.
a weird one.
That's
I don't think
weird. If a girl was doing that to you, would you go home and go, she was pretending to hit on me?
Wife, right?
Come on.
That's
Get the
hilarious.
fuck out of here. Jason, you want to come out of something?
So that show will be up very soon, along with a whole bunch of things we're excited for. So take a look, KeithAndTheGirl.com/VIP, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.